Hello, this is my review of Mario Kart 8. This is my parents' house where I live. Here is a picture of me getting my degree. I already look much older and you can see my reflection in the picture frame. Here is a calendar which my dad bought. Now I am stood in front of a poster of Xenoblade Chronicles for the Wii. Xenoblade Chronicles is one of the best Wii games and also one of the best RPGs of the last generation. I played it for at least 20 hours but I never finished it. The Wii U has been out for a long time now. Here is the gamepad. The battery is dead because I have been playing Mario Kart. Let us take a look at how the Wii U is doing by looking at my collection of Wii U games which I have had for about a year and a half. This is Zombie U. It is scary but also really boring. The only reason I have not traded it in is because there is a thing on the bottom of the case which the camera will not focus on, but it says not to be sold separately and I do not know if I will be able to trade it in. This is the wonderful 101. It is very inventive but it is also very difficult and fiddly and the game does not explain itself very well, so I just got frustrated while I was playing it and I've only played it for about an hour and a half even though I've had the game for about 12 months or something, but I think it is dog shit. This is Super Mario 3D World. It is one of the better Mario games. It is not quite as good as Super Mario Galaxy, but it's still very fun and I would recommend picking it up. This is Pikmin 3. It is the only Wii U game I have no bad things to say about. It is actually excellent. It is definitely the best Pikmin game. It is probably the best game on the Wii U. This is New Super Mario Bros. U. Technically speaking, it is not a bad game, although trying to play through a new Super Mario Bros. Game these days is like trying to eat your way through an entire pack of Jacob's Cream crackers without having a sip of water at all, which is very difficult. This is The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker HD, which I spent £45 on, but then realised that this is a game I have already played 5 or 6 times before, and it does not look much better in HD because the original Wind Waker still looks so good because of its trademark graphical style. It is probably the Legend of Zelda game which is least in need of a HD remake. If anything, they should have remade the Majora's Mask, which would have been much more difficult than remaking the Wind Waker, but that is what many people wanted, though I do not give a shit. This is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, which is so difficult I just got completely frustrated. It is nowhere near as much fun as Donkey Kong Country Returns on the Wii, which I already have and could have played any time. This is Batman Arkham City Armored Edition, which I bought on the Wii U because it was cheaper than buying all the DLC for Arkham City on the Xbox 360, which I already owned, or on the PS3, which I also own a copy of because of PlayStation Plus. This is Rayman Legends. It is a really good game, but you do not have to have a Wii U to play it because it was going to be an exclusive and then it was not an exclusive and now it is available on literally everything, including the new consoles, and knowing Ubisoft it will probably also be available on iPhone and Android devices and washing machines. Mario Kart 8 is the 8th game in the Mario Kart franchise. Mario Kart games always seem to come in pairs. The first 2 were named after the consoles, Super Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo and Mario Kart 64 on the 64. The next 2 had stupid subtitles, and from here on out Mario Kart games come in 2 per generation, 1 on the handhelds and 1 on the home consoles. So we had Mario Kart Super Circuit on the Game Boy Advance and Mario Kart Double Dash on the GameCube. Incidentally, Mario Kart Double Dash on the GameCube is my favourite Mario Kart because it is the most inventive, even though it introduced the blue shell, which is the worst thing which ever happened to Mario Kart. Also incidentally, Mario Kart 8 has a special edition which costs £20 more than the regular edition, even though the only difference between the standard edition and the special edition is that the special edition comes with a statue of the blue shell, which no one in their right mind would ever want. After Double Dash, the next 2 Mario Kart games were once again named after the consoles. We had Mario Kart DS on the DS and Mario Kart Wii on the Wii. Which then brings us to the current Mario Kart games. We have Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS and Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. Mario Kart 8 is a beautiful game and it is fun to play. Here I am playing a stage which I like because it reminds me of the first level of Sonic Adventure 2. I am sucking at it because I am trying to talk to you and play the game at the same time, and I keep checking the camera to see that everything is okay with the camera, and I can see that it's not perfectly framed, but I will go on anyway because I only ever do one take. The big thing about Mario Kart 8 is that now the courses feature anti-gravity, even though you can't really, it doesn't make much difference because the camera follows you anyway, and the only way you can tell you are driving upside down is if you look at the horizon, and it just doesn't really make that much an impact. Although sometimes you drive up a wall like this and you can do jumps even though you're driving sideways up a wall, and when I try to think about the physics of it, it gives me a headache. The game also makes use of the Nintendo Wii U gamepad feature, so you can play the entire game on the gamepad if you so wish. You can also use the gamepad to view the map. Here it is. It is quite useful if you are playing the god-awful battle mode so that you can find the people, because the battle mode just takes place on the regular racetracks, which a lot of reviews have mentioned because it is god-awful. although the gamepad tends to default, and when I say tends to, I mean absolutely always defaults to just having a big button in the middle of the screen, and all the button does is sound the horn on your car, which has absolutely no gameplay function whatsoever. It just makes a noise for your own amusement. The character selection in Mario Kart 8 is a little bit unusual, as well as everyone you would expect, like Mario and Peach and Toad. There are also baby versions of Mario, Luigi, Peach and Daisy, who I didn't know was a separate person from Peach until sometime in the mid-2000s. There is probably also a baby version of Rosalina, though I have not unlocked her yet and it does not make any sense. Also, I find it strange that you can play as Donkey Kong, as he has his own game franchise, and there are no other characters from other Nintendo franchises, even though that is a great idea. Donkey Kong had his own kart racing game on the Nintendo 64 called Diddy Kong Racing, although now that I think about it, I do not know that Donkey Kong was actually in that game. One of the unlockable characters is Pink Gold Peach, who is just a gold version of Peach. I think it is something to do with the fact that in Japan people like to collect little collectible bottles called gashapon or something like that, and sometimes you just get ones that are just like all gold or all silver because they are very cheap to produce, but they're people that make them desirable by saying that they are rare, so maybe it has some connection to that. I once got a gold Doro figure from a capsule machine in a game called Shenmue, and I thought it was rubbish, but I think the character Doro is just all silver anyways, and that is beside the point. Pink Gold Peach is a stupid name for a character because it is just 3 colours. Once you have selected your character, you can then customise your car with lots of different pieces which have different statistics which affect speed, acceleration, weight, handling and grip. Although I have never tried out this feature because the standard car works just fine and I can't be arsed dicking around with lots of different setups only to load into like a 4-race Grand Prix and find out that my setup is dog shit, and then I just have to load out of the game and then just load up the standard setup, which I would have just chosen in the beginning anyway, and lots of these combinations just look really stupid. I wish, to be honest though, that the changes were simply cosmetic. If you could just turn off the stat adjustments, I would probably use them, because I quite like the look of a Koopa in a big clown car with stupid patchwork wheels and a rocket which looks like a ride what a 4-year-old would go on in a shopping centre. This is Mount Wario. It is perhaps my favourite track in the whole game. Unlike the other tracks, it does not really have laps. Instead, it is one long track that is split up into 3 different sections, so it is very interesting to play. Here I am playing as Princess Peach on an F1 car with giant wheels, which also doesn't make any sense. The entire track is made out of ice, although I believe it handles exactly the same as all the other tracks, but it is still very fun to play. You will notice that all the footage so far has been captured on the time trial mode. This is because the time trial mode, as far as I am aware, is the only mode in the game where you can race and just pick one race that you want to play and not play a whole series of races in an order that has not been determined by you. In the versus mode, you can play on any race tracks that you want, but you have to choose at least 3 tracks, and I couldn't be arsed doing that. In conclusion, Mario Kart 8 is a great game. If you have not played a Mario Kart game in a while, then I guarantee you will enjoy it, although I find it hard to recommend over, say, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, Sega Racing Transform featuring Sonic the Hedgehog. This game features tracks from all sorts of different Sega franchises like Sonic the Hedgehog and Super Monkey Ball and Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg, which everyone remembers. It has a really great variety of tracks, much greater in fact than Mario Kart 8. Also, this game is much cheaper now and you can buy it on lots of different consoles. It is not exclusive to the Wii U, you can even get it on like PC and PlayStation Vita. Also, the tracks transform on the 2nd or 3rd lap on many of the tracks. There is a Skies of Arcadia track where on the 2nd or 3rd lap half of the track gets destroyed and it turns into a flying section. It's very exciting. Thank you for watching my review of Mario Kart 8, in which I recommend a different game at the end of the review, even though I'm wearing a Sonic t-shirt. I'm not very biased. Perhaps it is too early to make any judgment on Mario Kart 8 because I've only been playing it for like 3 or 4 hours, and I don't really care because I do not have any integrity as a reviewer at all.